Alright, so we were working on a storyboard last time we talked, and we're just kind of just laying out how the pages were going to look for this graphic novel, and working through trying to make them cinematic and fit together. And then the next part of that process is to make these pages. We're about halfway through the first issue
Of drawing.
of just
Sketching them
these
out correctly. We had started an issue that was more like the very middle of the story, and it was kind of just a fun little thing we started to do, and we decided to come back to the very beginning and start from the beginning. And so right now, during our story, it just kind of throws you straight into it. There's lots of just mystery characters, you don't really know who they are. It's just throwing you into this little girl who's in a hospital room, and it directly takes you to the next piece where she is on a beach and you don't really know how she got there, and you later figure out that it's really her in her mind. It's not a flashback of anything. It's her in her own imagination living in this world that her subconscious has created. And so, as you can see right here, she's getting up out of the beach. She's walking through a forest. We try to make her look as curious as possible. She doesn't really know who she is, and that's where we left off on last. And we tried to throw you directly into the action. The world that she created for herself is an extremely violent one, a world living under extreme dictatorship, and you find that very quickly in this novel. It's a little graphic. It's not as graphic as when it will be colored, but
And that's part of the process too. We're gonna put these into Photoshop, and we'll outline them and color them. And then the last part will be writing the script for how they'll talk.
So generally we have an idea of what they'll say at which point, but we don't know exactly how we're going to write it yet. So we have, I don't think we brought it with us, we have an outline of kind of like what they're going to say, but we don't actually have an actual script. We just have the story written out, what generally happens. And so to determine people's how they talk, what they'll say, what their humor is, that'll come a little later as we develop the script, and that'll come after we have these pages colored and put onto a Photoshop document. And so right here, there's a mysterious guy who pulls her away from some of the violence, and they are hiding because, well, if they get caught, they'll probably be killed.
And she doesn't know any of this
And
yet.
she's unaware of it. She just throws it into you, so you're just directly into the action, and that's kind of how we're trying to explain what kind of world it is. And from there, we'll elaborate into the story a little bit more.
We start to run into these unfinished pages where we're starting to catch up with the storyboard.
Catch up with our storyboard. So right here, the guy who saved her is about to leave. She follows him and asks him why and what just happened, and he starts to explain what this place is. And this is a broad overview of the city that is created, the extreme nasty world, and he gives a background information of how it got like that at the first place. It used to be a violent crime city with a lot of anarchy, until this man steps up and takes control and promises them peace, and through him promising them peace, he takes away all of their freedoms, all of their rights, and basically just files them on a bookshelf basically, and doesn't move them. He has them how they want them, and anyone who tries to leave the city is caught and killed, except for a few rebels who this last page except for a couple rebels who make like little plans and stuff outside, and that's where the beginning of the story takes place is she's trying to find out where she's supposed to be among all these people, and she meets a couple. She'll meet a couple of friends by the end of this issue that will help her through this journey. And so that's what we got so far for the first issue. And we've been experimenting on how we're gonna color these. This is a piece that Tyler has been working on.
And that's basically the same stage that these drawings are at.
The same idea of the drawings, the same style of artwork. And he scanned this and he's ran it through the computer to create